We all know what this payment's really for. It's for influence peddling and selling the Biden brand. Now, to date, we have shown that the Biden family and their companies received more than $15 million without providing any known legitimate services between 2014 and 2019. If you include the business associates in their companies, they've received over $24 million.
That's a lot of cash, and they just subpoenaed Mr. Comer there, issuing a subpoena for the bank records of James Biden and also Hunter Biden. Witnesses today, experts before the impeachment inquiry, which got underway today, and it's high time. Congressman James Comer, Republican, chairman of the House Oversight Committee, and he was also on this impeachment inquiry. Sir, welcome. Very impressive work today. How do you feel about it?
Well, I feel good. You know, we had two purposes today. First of all was to prove the justification for impeachment inquiry. All three witnesses said that we had reached the barrier and surpassed the barrier for impeachment inquiry. And the second purpose was to reintroduce the evidence to our friends in the mainstream media who continue to say there's no evidence. Just about every questioner on our side, I have 26 Republicans on the committee, just about every single one presented some form of actual hard evidence of some type of criminality by the Bidens. Has also showed the coordination and Joe's involvement in the Biden family influence peddling.
So the China wire, can we talk about that for a moment? The wire that you just established came from China in late July and early August 2019. Let's put it up on the screen. I think it was $10,000 in July, $250,000 in August. You called the Biden house the beneficiary, right? The beneficiary address. Right. Technically speaking, what is a beneficiary address? The recipient?
Yeah. When you do a wire, you have to put the address. Even though it's wired, you have to put a physical address and you have to list the purpose of the wire, just like writing an old-fashioned check. You have to do all of that stuff, especially with a wire. And with respect to the beneficiary address, they listed Joe Biden's house. So $250,000 wire from a Chinese foreign national went to Joe Biden's house, to his son in his house. Now, when that first came out, we first released that, then Hunter Biden's attorneys came out and said, well, Hunter Biden was living there. Ian Sams, who's the White House spokesman for oversight, said, well, Hunter was living there and it was because of COVID. COVID hadn't happened yet, number one. And number two, Hunter Biden was living in California at that time. But the wire was addressed to Joe Biden's house. So we catch the Bidens and their defenders in lie after lie after lie. And we continue to get more and more evidence of suspicious wires from our enemies around the world. And this hearing today, the Democrats had a lot of theatrics. They tried to pull a lot of motions to disrupt. But one thing they didn't do, they didn't say what the Bidens did to receive the $20 million. They didn't deny the fact that we said that the Bidens had 20 shell companies. They didn't deny the fact that the Bidens had been money laundering. And they didn't deny the fact that the Biden family had been influence peddling. All they would say when they weren't talking about Donald Trump or Rudy Giuliani was that you haven't proven Joe Biden received any money. But we've proven the families received a lot of money. Joe met with all the people that sent the family money. Joe was the brand that they were selling. And we believe that that's pretty incriminating evidence against Joe Biden.
Like you said, these motions, these technicalities. Here's Jamie Raskin trying his best to stop the whole thing at one point. Take a look. And you're not having it, by the way. Your reaction's awesome.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. Before I give my opening statement, I have a parliamentary inquiry. Given that the committee has not been authorized by the full House to conduct an impeachment inquiry, am I correct in assuming that we're obligated to follow the rules of the House, including Section 370 of the Rules and Manual, which prescribe engaging in personalities towards the president? Section 370 says accusations that the president has committed a crime or even that the president has done something illegal are unparliamentary.
Yeah, unparliamentary. Unparliamentary. How about their unparliamentary behavior? It's kind of incredible. Do you sense a little bit of a fear, a little bit of an anxiousness with them that you guys are making headway, that this stuff is real, it's not a conspiracy theory? You see it in their eyes. I know that sounds silly, but, you know, do you?
And they think because the media is going along with saying there's no evidence that the American people think that. CNN's poll showed 61% of Americans, this is CNN's poll, showed 61% of Americans believe Joe Biden was involved in his family's shady business schemes. Okay, that's even with the mainstream media trying to indoctrinate into their viewers that there's no evidence. The American people understand that the Biden families received millions and millions of dollars from our enemies around the world, and they can't say what they did to receive the money. And if they were watching this hearing today, what they saw were Democrats try to distract, obstruct, and deflect from the problem at hand. And the problem at hand is our commander-in-chief, our president of the United States, family has been selling him all over the world to our enemies for millions and millions of dollars. And this is a threat to our national security. And that's why, after today, with the witness testimony, we will continue and proceed officially with impeachment inquiry. I issued subpoenas for James Biden and Hunter Biden's personal bank records. And we're going to go through those bank records because the money that we've been following went from the countries to the shell companies to the Bidens in incremental payments.
Yeah.
Now we've got the Biden's personal account. That's what the next objective is with the subpoenas today. And we're going to see what they spent that money on. And if you've read the laptop, and I know you have, Hunter complains to everyone about having to give his dad half his salary, having to pay for so many things. There were emails from Joe Biden's bookkeeper saying, you're going to have to pay for your dad's roof. You know, there's evidence that Hunter Biden was paying for his cell phone. So we want to see what the personal funds where they received all this laundered money from the foreign nationals, what they did with the personal funds.
And anybody who's like impatient saying, well, this should have happened, like you can look back at Nixon. It was basically a 1.5 year long process. And so you're onto something, obviously. And this could, I don't know, this is historic. And I appreciate your efforts. And thank you, Congressman, for sharing this information with us, and to be continued, okay?
We're not going to stop. We're going to continue to follow the money and try to hold this president accountable.
You're doing it the right way. Thank you, sir, and we'll be right back.